It's time once again for me to tackle something insanely popular. Am I a little behind on things? Yes. Is my TBR ridiculously out of control? Also, yes. I think the only thing of note that everybody should keep in mind moving forward with this romance novel is a comment a fellow book talker had to say about Icebreaker. It's a spicy novel for girlies who never had their Wattpad phase. Now, I am so old that my own fanfiction experience actually predates Wattpad by quite a lot. But I took it to mean that this is spice for girls who've never read spice before. Baby's first spicy book, if you will. And yes, I now apply this phrase to a lot of other popular series. Looking at you, Court of Thorns and Roses series. Ugh. Anyway, if you came here because you thought that this was an audiobook, please stick around and learn some reading and listening comprehension skills. Before we even begin this book, it starts by giving us a playlist. What? Bam, this isn't Wattpad, AO3, FanfictionNet, or any other fanfic website. Kindly put that thing back in your notes. Thanks. Chapter 1. It is also with the greatest regret that I must now inform you that this is a switching point of view story. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Anyway, so we open on Anastasia, who is frustrated because her skating coach is, let me check my notes on this because it can't possibly be right. She's angry that her skating coach is trying to push her so that she can win a medal and possibly go to the Olympics. How dare she? Sarcasm. Anastasia isn't skating alone and is partnered with another college skater named Aaron. They both got into University of California, Maple Hills, without their previous skating partners, so they've been together for the past 3 years. Their coach, a woman named Aubrey, was once an Olympic hopeful. However, before she and her own skating partner could get a medal, they got a baby instead. Should have kept it in your pants, I guess. Anastasia blames the baby on why Aubrey is now so angry all of the time. Anastasia is also convinced that Aubrey is a KGB spy, which is confusing to me since why would the Russians want one of their figure skaters to help out Americans? Even Anastasia admits that it's kind of dumb, but yet she persists in this nonsense. After their routine, Aubrey yells at Anastasia for not yet having the quadruple butts down. Anastasia explains to the readers that while Erin has it down, she's still struggling to get the jump down off the ice. My sympathy for her is pretty low, seeing as how she's kind of at a serious, almost professional level, and her own partner can do it. Then the book takes a sharp left into everybody's least favorite topic, body-shaming women. Whee! Anastasia tells us that when she entered university 3 years ago, she gained the dreaded freshman 15, although for her it was more like 5. And I get that doing couples figure skating as a man means that you gotta lift up your female partner, so every pound counts, but I refuse to believe that those 5 pounds really made that much of a difference to Erin. But in standard female athlete form, Anastasia is on an extreme diet, one that she occasionally lets slide, like yesterday when it was her friend's 21st birthday and she got drunk. By climb into Aaron's new G-Wagon, the latest guilt gift from his adulterous but wealthy father. Was describing your sandwich really necessary to the continuation of the plot? As the two of them head out, Anastasia tells us that she and Aaron live together, and that she's also a control freak who has every second of her day written out in her day planner. Aaron rips her about how she schedules physical intimacy with her boyfriend. Yes, that's right, Anastasia has a boyfriend named Ryan, who is most decidedly not the other point of view character, who is Nathan. Ryan is on the basketball team, and there's a noticeable size difference between him and Anastasia. She seems to be into that, though, so who's to blame a girl for going after what she wants? Also, she's never been attracted to Aaron, so squash those potential pairings right now. Thank you kindly. We then jump over to the introduction of the almost obligatory, super obnoxious, and unlikable female friend, Lola. Aaron and Anastasia live together with her, and I think that she's some sort of dancer. She's complaining that she didn't get the lead role, and implies that something inappropriate went on in order for the other girl to have gotten the part. However, not even Anastasia is on Lola's side. Anastasia leaves as Aaron picks a fight with Lola. She tells the readers that she and Aaron are her only children, so living in a place like this is suddenly finding out that you have siblings and moving in with them. She also randomly tells us that things aren't good between Aaron's parents after he moved away. I'm still not sure if I should give a hoot. Our home is one of Aaron's dad's better forgive me presents. It was either after his affair with his secretary or before he decided to have sex with the interior designer. I don't even care about Aaron at this point. Why do I care who his dad is diddling? Ryan comes over because his dorm mates are throwing a party. When he goes to their apartment, Lola loudly announces that she doesn't want to hear of them getting it on, and in return demands the room code for Ryan's room, except she is super graphic about what she'd be hearing through her own bedroom wall. Gross. After Aaron and Lola leave, Ryan and Anastasia get to it. However, since Ryan isn't endgame, this is a merciful fade to black scene. Chapter 2. We're over with Nathan's point of view, the actual love interest. I love it when the book gives away what's going to happen. Ugh. Anyway, Nate wakes up to a mystery hand draped around his wrist. He's even more horrified when he finds out that it's some lady named Kitty. He then goes on to explain to the readers that she's the kind of Nepo baby who's been skating through life so far using daddy's credit cards. Although she was pretty, she was off limits thanks to her unpretty personality, which becomes evident as soon as she wakes up and starts yapping. After putting Kitty into an Uber, Nate turns around and has to deal with his own roommates. They're snickering and not even pretending to hide it. They all know that Kitty's beauty is only skin deep. Nate rounds on them and asks why they let him leave the party last night with Kitty. They say that they tried, but drunk Nate was insistent upon the entire thing, which, yeah, I have a lot to say about toxic college culture, but I'm probably going to try to refrain as much as possible, at least for now. Throughout all of this, the narration will not stop slamming on the brakes in order to tell us the most asinine details possible about Nate's roommates. Several of the reviews on Goodreads warned that this book felt like one giant setup for the other books in this series, which featured these other characters. I simply didn't think that it would be so obvious, or that it would have started in literally Chapter 2. We're still getting to know the actual main characters of this book. I don't care about them right now, mainly because the narration can't stop yapping about somebody else's parents for me to actually get to know Nate. The narration then takes a hard right to explain to us that Nate is in university to get a degree in sports medicine, that he has a spot on the NHL team from Canada waiting for him after he graduates, but that he knows that one wrong move could end his career forever. In fact, he's already seen how bad things can be for his hand since his friend Robbie was paralyzed from a hockey accident last year. However, Nate's career in sports medicine is already off to a wonderful start, and he's only in classes for right now, but he's too tired from hockey practice to actually give a hoot about his classes. Makes me wonder exactly why he's pretending to bother if he's not even sure what he's learning in classes. Strike 2 about toxic college culture in this chapter alone. While waiting for one of his friends to get up from class, Nate checks out the group chat. They're being called into the trophy room, which according to Nate is only when the coach is going to yell at you. So they all go, and the coach is livid. He starts yelling at them, but Nate seriously has no idea what the coach is going on about. Part of me would like to blame it on how he got so blackout drunk the night before, but the nicer part of me insists that Nate doesn't know simply because he honestly had nothing to do with it. Anyway, some prankster broke into the hockey arena last night and destroyed the cooling generator. You know, the thing that ensures the ice remains actual ice and not a swimming pool, according to the coach. However, thanks to the fact that these clowns enjoy pulling childish pranks, the coach thinks that they all had a hand in it, which I suppose is understandable. Chapter 3. The next day, Anastasia fumes when the school's director of sports calls every single athlete into the building at the center of campus. That's not according to her schedule. This will not stand. While she's waiting to get into the building, there's now such a massive crush of athletes that they need to wait simply to get in. Ryan comes to find her. The narration pauses to explain that they met at a college party when they were partnered up to play beer pong. I'm barely 3 chapters in, and I'm already over how toxic that this book is in regards to the entire college experience. Anyway, Ryan was impressed with how aggressive that she was playing at the drinking game, which was at odds with the sunny, inspirational quotes she always posts on social media. However, this reminder from Ryan about needing to practice what she preaches on social media only makes Anastasia call him the 4-letter D word, which makes me wonder why they're even together if she doesn't even actually like him all that much, apparently. Hey man, the book had Anastasia call Ryan that word. I'm simply reading the room here. I'll take you home and let you take out any remaining stress on my body. With a bat, his fingers slide into my tense muscles, rhythmically working out every knot as I roll my head to the side. Kinky, will you dress up as Harley Quinn too? I'm not even sorry for saying this, but this is neither funny nor remotely sexy, and I'm legitimately concerned for the people who think that it's either. After they manage to get into the auditorium, an entire page is spent talking about Anastasia's unhealthy eating habits. Like, there's being within a good weight range, and then there is this book spending an unholy amount of time simply talking about it. The entire thing is giving eating disorder. However, Ryan is quick to point out that Aaron is a terrible person for not being able to take a weight fluctuation. Thank you. Director Skinner stands up and begins a list of all sorts of terrible things that he's needed to deal with as a college students find their way into adulthood. However, he then gets to pregnancy, and one football player stands up and storms out. He's the example that the director was using and obviously takes immense offense over the entire thing. And I get him making a stand about such blatant call-outism, but I'm honestly surprised that more of this guy's friends didn't stand up and leave as well. That was tacky and beyond rude. The director keeps going to the point where Anastasia's kind of like, we get it. Move on, please. Besides me, Ryan snorts, shoving another cookie into his mouth. When I open my mouth to ask what's so funny, he shoves one into mine, grinning like a fool because I have no choice but to eat it. This is 100% a case of he may not have hit you, but he sure doesn't respect you. I might have things to say about Anastasia's perceived eating disorder, but at the end of the day, it's her body, and she told Ryan no, which is a complete sentence. When you couple this with the four-letter D word Anastasia called him 3 pages earlier, girl, please get some standards, because Ryan ain't it. And I know, Renee's supposed to be the endgame here, but come on. Finally, Skinner runs out of steam and delinquent behavior and dismisses everybody but the hockey team and the figure skaters. After everybody else leaves, Skinner tells them about the freezer being sabotaged and how they're having trouble finding parts for it. It's going to take ages to fix, so until that happens, the hockey team will be forced to share the rink with the figure skaters. It's at this point that Anastasia has a full-on meltdown. Her precious schedule has been thrown completely out of whack, all because of a bunch of immature boys with on-team rivalry destroying their own rink. And I get that this is upsetting, but she's acting like she's never going to be allowed out on the ice ever again. It's honestly a little silly. Outside, Nate randomly signals her out and invites her to the party and that the hockey team is starting that night. However, Anastasia's having none of this immature party boy nonsense and calls him out. That he has the audacity to invite her to a party minutes after being dismissed from her chewing out from Director Skinner. However, Nate is of the opinion that you can hardly cancel a party at the last second, that people would show up and party regardless of what the occupants of the house thought. Ugh, why is the college representation in this book excessively toxic? My main thing from this chapter is I feel like the figure skaters are being unjustly punished for the terrible actions of the hockey team. I kind of understand that college sports events nets the school a lot of money, so they wouldn't want to cancel the hockey events for the rest of the year. But if it was me, I would have done something to ensure that the hockey team could rent out space in a rink in town so that they could still practice. If they complain about needing to share the space with normies, then I'd quickly remind them that if they didn't want to do that, then maybe they shouldn't have destroyed their own rink. I understand that this is the entire premise of the book. They're forced to share the ice and they fall in love, but honestly, it's a dumb setup for two people who likely would have already met thanks to their shared love for the ice. Chapter 4. The hockey team goes to what I can only assume is Nate's house to, and I quote, drown their sorrows. I'd like to remind you that most college students aren't over 21 and that allowing minors to drink is literally illegal. As the captain of the hockey team, Nate decides to take matters into his own hands and signals out one of the players. How he decided that this Russ is the one who destroyed the generator is beyond me, but whatever. He tells Russ to wait for him up in his room and then decides to let him stew for a good 20 minutes. The narration then slams on the brakes so that it can describe Nate's feelings about Anastasia. No, he's not yearning for her romantically or anything, so I'm not quite sure what the point of any of this was except to waste half a page. Upstairs, Nate asks Russ why he did it. Russ is like, why are you so sure that it's me? Which I think is fair considering that not even the readers know why Nate signaled Russ out. Then after a moment, Russ explains that he was kind of seeing a girl from the school's LA campus, but she had a boyfriend who threatened Russ when he found out about this, and Russ is convinced that it's his boyfriend who broke the generator. Although something tells me that if Nate were to talk to each and every other member of the team, they'd all have a different story, some rival or enemy or something. So excuse me if I'm not exactly rushing to find this mysterious boyfriend. The party kicks off, although Nate can't help but note that there's a weird air hanging around. Even though nobody else but the hockey team are actually in trouble, all the other party guests are acting like Skinner had directed his anger out on them as well. The narration then pauses yet again so that it can first describe Nate trying to butter up the front of a girl he's been trying to hook up with for ages, then Nate failing miserably to hook up with said girl yet again. I honestly don't give a flying fig. He then sees Anastasia and Lola hanging out, so he goes over to talk to them. Robbie shows up a moment later, practically cementing him as the love interest for Lola. I don't care. Anastasia says that she's going to get in line to use the toilet, but Nate offers to let her use his ensuite bathroom instead. So they go up. After she finishes, the two of them ask generic getting to know you questions like where they're from and what they're majoring in. Anastasia thinks that it's kind of cliche that Nate is a rich boy hockey player from Colorado. Nate also tells Anastasia that it's not like anybody from the team destroyed their generator, although I feel like that's a bold, sweeping statement, especially when he asks literally one member of the team and nobody else. The two of them go back downstairs and then almost immediately run into Ryan, who obviously looks pissed that this strange man is coming down the stairs with his girlfriend. Thanks for listening to my Book Snark on YouTube. New videos are up every Monday, but stick around because I sometimes drop random videos on other days too. Just as a reminder, even if you can't financially support me, there are other ways to help me out. The first is watching this video as well as all of my other videos. It's also important to like and subscribe. Finally, you can share this video with all your friends so that they can help as well. If you're already caught up with all of my videos, you can go to Tumblr for my main Book Snarks, always free and updated every morning. Newly added to Patreon is to become a member without paying. You'll get access to the same things on Tumblr, but on Patreon. Supporters can have access to so many more books now starting at $1 a month. Also, new is a 1-week free Patreon trial, so be sure to check that out. Special thanks to Dawn, Phoebe, and Nikki for supporting me on Patreon already. If you want to hear your name in my video next week, either support me on Patreon or make a one-time donation. Do you like my Snark so much that you want me to snark your writing? I do that too. For just $6 per chapter, I will tell you how awful that your writing is. But not to worry if you feel like you couldn't take the criticism. I also offer regular book editing as well, just $10 per chapter. You can contact me on any of my social media platforms if you have further questions. If you want to read some of the things that I've written, you can purchase my works on Amazon. I have a slew of spicy short stories and 2 full-length novels. I also frequently run flash sales on my stories, and if you don't follow me on any social media, you might want to do so just so you know when I might be offering things for free. Links for everything will be posted below. See you next week, guys!